rooms get warped from the sun so bad sometimes that you can't fit a screen in there. So once they stop moving because they're like so low, we call you guys and you go over there.
I'm gonna do you after you do the T.
So my friend grew up in Illustrator saying what we changed.
All that information stuff, yeah.
Turns out.
Someone said, how do you like that? They're like, yeah, I do.
Oh, no, totally forgot. Went in there, washed my hands and walked out without them.
You brought the tools to part of it. But I'm even thinking, figured it out, trying to do the pipe thing. Pipe, yeah. There we go.
Look at Campbell, introduced this guy.
So he brought the tools and came back. Hey, I don't think so. So like I said, I learned something in outsourcing.
Yeah.
Pretty clear. For actually, yeah, maybe I have a picture of what it is you want.
Yeah. Well, I was overseeing some, so they just painted like this, and I was like, we should do like hair longer, so then they did, I mean, I did the green, but the little green carving, and like where to put, like the X was a better idea, on the face, but I kinda oversaw something
Gonna have
like
a bit.
Supervision.
There's no what? That D gonna have a bit.
So supervision was an important class.
Yes, it is.
There.
The brain, the brain part of it, I really enjoy that. That's good.
I would,
I had no idea what it was. I mean, it's no idea what it was.
It's like zombie Frankenstein, like Frankenstein type kind of thing. or-
They gotta have like a line or something like that.
It's cool that you have a pumpkin though.
Hey, Mitch. Mitch. Wow.
Is he gonna cut through the pumpkin meat? You're gonna, there's a shank spoon right here. Thank you. Prison shank, that's his roots. Sharp and smooth. Works better. Yes, it is.
Alright, clean that inside out, inside a little more.
So which place was this, which school?
All of it. So what I did is, the lady who does the work, she works in the day shift, so I'm there after class. And had the little, keeps her cleans up the area, and so that, what we call the, calls her the paper or whatever. She gets on the phone, I describe where the mom goes, oh yeah, we can do that. Just hand the phone back to the girl, she's taking the order down. And when I came back today, I was like, yeah, that's not quite right.
How does you do this?
It's probably something like they print it off and put it on. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think they can do pictures if you want that kind of. You ever want to eat your grandparents' face? There you go. I explained to her, doing dogs.
You just gotta take some of that out of there.
Like I said, without the picture. And it's, that's what I got. And I was like, so I grabbed another phone, sitting on a rack. And then grabbed some Hershey chocolate, we cut some triangles, then stuck it on there, like, put it inside of it. Use it, and I use it.
Hard to live without it.
I mean, from what the rest of the
Where do you want this originally? Do you want this inside of it, or do you want this
I
out?
think what you got with, I think it's
So my thought was, big enough, big enough, it looked like it's eating the pumpkin.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
That's.
I think we take it out for right now.
Take it
Because
off.
we're gonna be,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I could kill us.
Take this out and
You
put
got
it
that
on,
part
back
down.
on.
Well, then it,
No, I like, it looks like simple, but like,
Keep that right there, make sure we know what it's for.
I just don't know where we're.
Alright, so we hold on to a couple words there.
What do you mean, we're winning, right? The whole thing. It's,
So, yeah, I don't know, it's even on the presentation part where you, is it, get up there in front of it, then line them up with
You wanna
their
try this
tags,
next
and
step?
one, and two, and everybody right there.
I think part of the presentation. Are all three of us gonna be standing up for the presentation, or is it?
No, you can just, decide who wants to do the talking, you don't have to be up front, you can present it from there. Others will judge your presentation. Everybody will keep score. He's gonna give you a 1 to 10 vote on each of those
1 to 10?
scores, a 1 to 10 on each of those things.
I noticed the front of the room is definitely more stressful with everyone looking at you. And then I'm like, how do you do that for 2.5 hours? It's good, like I go out and like I talk to everyone in groups, and all of a sudden I go up there and I'm like,
I gave you the.
It's
this is so
different.
many people looking at me. But when I go out, I talk to a bunch of people.
Yeah, you got no problem with it, it's
Yeah.
just different when you're in front of the crowd.
Yeah, and there's like 12 eyeballs. I'm like,
Yeah.
ah.
It is.
So I we have 40 employees, and I'm just trying to talk to all 40 of them in a meeting, and stand in the middle, and walk around in circles, and talking to them, they're getting up there, everyone's doing the presentation.
It's a real change. I suddenly feel like the need to like hurry up. So I start talking super quick. No, it'll do it. I just feel like it's from there. Like if you talk from here, like it's
The front of the room.
yeah, because then everyone's like kind of looking like rotating between those three. Like, oh, okay, I'm looking at companies. Like, oh, there.
Clean out
This is what we do. I'm gonna hold it in front of you and keep talking.
We did the little presentation. Well, from my notes, back in.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get in practice with how they various kind of.
Yeah.
Hands out.
And
Look good.
I think once it's dark and then the light now.
Yeah, I got 4 lights.
Someone carved that.
Yes,
His wife is now.
I got 4 custom cutters.
Good call.
Amazing stuff.
Good call.
Stuff like that. Really good kind of thing. So
Oh, I
it's
listened to
kind
that.
of like his wife's business.
She like plates and stuff.
I don't have, so I just thought we'd, I can't eat any of it, so I feel bad. So I like the idea of the pumpkin.
I apologize, Pam.
Usually I don't use it. I don't care.
That's good though.
It's even feeling it. I would just a little bit, so you can see. I know you had so much time
Yeah,
to
you
try
got
to
it.
picture it in my head when we left, I still think about it.
That just looks about like more time than I thought.
I was expecting.
I love it.
Cause you said 20, I think we said with our estimate was 15, something like that, so I was like,
I saw it and I was like, man, we should have done,
the one
you
that
know,
wasn't what I
a picture of general
thought.
readings of his name. South Horizon. Pretty scary to some people. I mean, it's only funny to me because I'm from South Carolina.
You guys want a bigger saw?
It's more funny than anything, you know, just seeing people's reactions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We owe you for this kid. How much we owe you for this kid?
Nice. I think they probably charge like
selling them, you know, not summertime, you just.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
What do you even get? You gotta give them a spirit Halloween or something.
Spirit Halloween probably sells them for even more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they
they
have,
have-
they've had,
they have a master kit they have where they're
No, really?
like stainless steel and like an actual cage.
Oh, what?
Something like that.
Professional target.
There's a part that wants to go for this A, but then I feel like you'd be better at the O. I mean, I can be the A, but if you can be that O, since you did pretty good on that D.
you're really good on, not pretty good, you're really good on that, so I'm glad you got the O.
More like horrible.
You gotta build him up, you can't say kind.
Just take it.
It's
Line straight
yeah.
down, and then start, and then just do 2 half circles. And actually, yeah, just leave that right there, like, don't even cut that out. And then just
I'm
do
definitely
2 half
interested in that one,
circles.
though, that's,
Like, do the
uh,
line all
pictures,
the way
pretty
down.
cool.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, still.
Piece is gonna come out with the leaves staying in, or?
Nope, not even that.
Well,
Just
the
2 half
leaves,
circles.
so just cut in, so you, the idea is you carve it thin enough.
Everything else comes off, right?
Well, by the time you put the light
I
in, you
can
can see
actually,
that.
Oh, it shines through.
It shines through the
On the picture,
Right
I thought the rest of the pumpkin was gone, except for.
It is, like all this should come out when it's on the tap for that stuff.
It's okay, you can make it work,
I
just
think
don't connect
you've
that
probably
line.
spent 2 more hours taking all this.
Probably.
But,
Yeah,
like it is here is, you know,
cool.
that's
Now,
the
it's a
thing.
little goofy, but.
Wearing the wall thin so you can see the light through.
Yeah, yeah.
On the sides, they don't have time, like dollars, right? Those side dollars are.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Yeah.
So even part of this, you know.
That's
that was
our-
just
that'll be our
even
thing, we'll
though
just have
It's already started to.
4 different.
We're gonna have 4 entries in one. In one thing. Yeah, we've been pretty early for it, you know. Go. Drop the mic on down.
Okay.
That's how you do.
No,
Yeah, I'll try that A.
no, I've, actually, I hate color pumpkin, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You seem like you're doing pretty good.
Well, I mean, no.
You're like, oh, this pumpkin, you're just going. Yeah. Complicated, but we'll deal with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like on the picture, so we
I
start
love
with
it.
it.
Yeah, never do it. It's quite a fun song. Tuesday, Friday, done that, I'm sure you don't have one.
That's what I'm saying, I usually never do.
We're just gonna start doing it every holiday.
I'll walk around there, and go, wow, that looks really
Slow
good.
down, right?
Yeah.
We'll like go around doing anything like that, you know, for a while.
Oh,
It was just rough, it's 24 hours.
I might have known. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get him to do, is just have a, I mean, you think about it, it solves out. Yeah, I was thinking No. Which is crazy. So we gotta think about like, what else we can do.
even when older, within a day, he's less than stock.
Yeah. Yeah, with this fast as we're running, you need backups for everything you leave. There's some stuff you can do. Like, S4, S3, cleaner, you know, but if you need ground or something, we'll work on it.
I had to have door boxes on Tommy board, and that's the door box.
That's a good idea.
We can always move that, we can always draw out of their house.
Why'd you mess up on it?
Yeah, at least the soft stuff you can do your own spot. Like a little bit
I
wider
think
stuff.
we can get that other end up top.
I think I did squares and doors on it before, a little bit of a pain.
No, we cannot.
Yeah,
Oh, like those flat? Yeah, that's great.
It was that or coffee filters as plates, and I was like,
Don't worry about that, everything's
Right?
They don't like off the cuff talent
Yeah, the original idea was have it
But what I asked for and what I got was just. So, I had it more the other way, but they made it more like a cake, so I was like, other than building more pumpkin. Or something.
Looks like you get too much of it.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does it look intimidating really? Yeah, getting on that pumpkin?
Yeah.
And then this was actually dirt that was
Go down the cold
inside the big on and paint this.
Yeah.
So this thing, we got it so it came off.
Yes.
You can't even tell.
Maybe when he eats the pumpkin, it'll turn into like a.
I know, right?
Some reverse
As long as we got like 3 or 4 different designs on it, then it just shows that we're going for it.
Oh, that's okay, what about this?
Power tools.
I think it's.
They may look cool,
They weren't the best.
but they weren't the best.
If they're outside, maybe.
Put a pumpkin on the ceiling there.
Stays there for a couple of years.
Well, I was riding the line of fire, I was trying to cut out the top of the grinder and it turned orange.
Paint the room that way.
That's pretty awesome.
We just have a really big pumpkin.
Alright, there's the yes.
Sweet.
All right. We can try a dollar sign on one end.
There's some candles in this house too. It's like,
Okay, yeah.
Wow,
Do
this
we want to, I mean,
This coming through.
we didn't really, consider our losses,
Yeah.
and so.
well, one of the risks of this week was to send out power for what they didn't work. They're like, all set on that, right? Didn't last long. But like,
Right, so do we want to do a dollar sign, is my question.
That's pretty true. No, it's just,
Whatever.
Some people get those faces where they go deep enough in so the light shines through.
but where'd you get these at? Foster?
$3.
Yeah, all this inside right here.
I can do a dollar sign.
Might as well. Yeah, we can see, sharpen the skin.
Right.
On the end of it there.
oh,
Worked pretty good.
it's a new like spoon.
Illegal, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not allowed knives if you're insane. I think that's
We
it.
should have gone just completely rogue, just like butter knives and stuff.
If you're yeah, no knives.
These bad boys in there. See what it does for us.
What's the tab over there?
The quick thing, the whole like out the front,
Not with the lights
or
on.
switchblade knives and
That
ground
was my
knives,
seat sign.
and butterfly knives.
A little bit. And even the dark, yeah, well.
Because they were popular, those knives were popular.
Where do we want this dollar sign? The clap,
And so they wrote into all the.
beside the,
And then they put
like,
free win for us.
probably
Sure.
right here.
Yeah, that side, that has more room.
There was no.
Freelance it, just freelance it.
One, two.
One with that and one with the
Just
juice.
freelance it.
So the knives are really, when you go to the, what is this?
Oh, yeah, so it's-
We didn't do much of it last year,
And you go, are these legal? He goes, no.
like paint booth and you got people welding in one spot. It's just like, it's like such a right? When I came in, they had swapped the entire shop out because originally they had it just be a one-stop process. All the way around the shop and they garage. So like, you know, like laminates or like and stuff was right next to where the garage doors are. Then there was the welding booth was there where I was. So we were originally it was right next to the exit doors, but that's where the CNC was fixed. And then now across the way people go to boxes to store all the material.
You guys know where that
Those two swap places. It would make sense, like, if you give me an idea of
Would it be
something.
stable?
Entry doors, welding, Toyota, Chevy boots, and then that's
So what is the white stuff? It's pretty weird, yeah. It's looking smooth, yeah. The one it's not like red, super thin. That adds some effect too. See you on the punch you.
They don't have to do camera challenges. They let me call menus for some stuff. So if someone may want to call out people and come and cut it out and install it. So, yeah, some stuff I have to do, some stuff they let me call. Like obviously Jones, like they're not gonna have any. Well, they just want to do like a certain. I'm like I'm not. I can't do like Jones paint glass. They come out and cut ours. Ours just shows up in the start and then go outside. Ours is just different. So they'll just like take a section. Yeah, it's such a good variety.
Okay, so we should probably figure out how we.
What's the name of that?
Yes, yes, we are.
It's not a granite or quartz. It's like a.
Maybe we should try it. See,
It's outdated. I mean, it's 2004.
Yeah, we were gonna try to make quick work of it, but
It's super bad.
you know, it doesn't work out as we thought.
No, it's like wood with like this thin glass. I don't know what type of material this will like come up sometimes with it.
We made a lot of pumpkin puree with Carwell.
Cool idea to try this.
Oh man, it would have been I think maybe if it would have been like an actual like Dremel tool with like a little
That's I don't even know.
like bits.
Like a little die grinder or something small like that.
Well, even smaller, like an like little blue the Dremel brand tools. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good for
Yeah.
carving. Probably made life easier on this one.
itself, had magnetic points on them at each level of the institution. And magnets connected with the letter, which had like a, two innovations that they were doing a connection and by the light. So it was this really cool setup. And the idea was, the board itself would be covered with like a fabric light sheet.
I think you can slip strings in there. Cool idea, because
The letter itself is all
well, it's like, you know, we're student loan, you know, it's kind of hang over you. Spider web.
Maybe one of us to be the lead presenter. That's what this is right here. So, this is like our guidelines. So we just talk about, hey, so we figured out what I did in our project, carving a pumpkin. Right, carving a pumpkin, we talked about what different ideas inspired those student loans on there. The task, like each one of us had something, right? I brought the lights, I brought the power tools, and he brought the letters. But the power tools that we didn't use as much, right? That's okay. Create project management plan. I mean, I guess that's, I feel like
So how are you feeling? How do you want this full presentation?
identify different layers. And then we talk about, I think, how we then bring
Yeah, it's kind of good to see what team wants to see if he's
We don't know if he's going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, if he's going to 2, 5, 4, 3,
they're
1.
cut. I carved in the letters, or wrote in the letters. You cut out your skull, right? Cut it out, pinned it on there, and just cut them off. And we can talk about how, you know, the flames and the money sign, we kind of just, you know, improvise that. Okay? So we had these, and this planned out. Exactly. And then the flames and the money sign were improvised. Right? So, the outcome
Silent, project, creative project schedule.
right there.
Symbolism.
Yeah.
And you got, and there's always little notes that just like the strings inside of these letters.
There you go.
You know, and it sucks you dry and kills you. And then there's this
Yeah, they were pretty.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Burning now.
Exactly. I think just go, just, all of those, but pretty much go with what we did, right? We talked about what we wanted to put on there, we decided to go to student loans, and then,
Responsibility. You get the lights, you get the lighting, I got tools.
and then we talked about really just.
Painting just for what he said.
Supposed to really go on and break the news.
One to say it just.
I didn't really get shit.
And then I can
Each
chime
by
in,
team three, one for the 11, not big, right?
and then I can just chime in, you know, whatever is, just talk
One
about
on street.
what we did.
So,
And we
project,
decided-
your scope.
The zombie pumpkin.
And we decided to.
Usually
say,
think brains,
let's
man, so it's
say,
pumpkin.
let's do the guys.
Who did the painting?
It's like,
And then we decided
You did?
Yeah.
That's
Kind of like a Frankenstein approach.
And then you got cake and pie?
It was supposed to be
And you're supposed to eat the cake and pie right before you do the evaluation.
We got that cookie and cinnamon idea.
You stole that idea from me.
Yeah, we're adapting. We're adapting that works for senior. I was thinking I will bring you an energy drink.
We actually,
other guys are ready, yeah, it's going to be.
Okay, okay, I'm just trying to move forward to.
Okay, that worked.
Alright, what's your?
Not lacking power.
You're supposed to go in.
There's a lot of them.
I don't want to say, I don't want to say this is overcome, I mean, it's not.
No, it's not, it's not.
Just talk about, like, you know, just step by step. Execute. Yeah, it's candles in there.
I'll take all the stuff that's going.
Me and Steve asked him. There was a, be a donor available to, allow the tents to.
You got your missing team member? Huh? You got your missing team member, right? What? You might be the one to call out sick.
What's your team member?
Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah, so you got the two of them on doing the presentation, right?
He was.
He was the project manager. That's right.
Maybe we can put the pumpkin up there and be like,
Did you have Rochambeau for who's doing it then? Sticks.
Our man, he
Oh, you just volunteered?
he's pretty much followed up. Took
see,
the
someone,
responsibility.
took custody of the phone. I figured I had to do something. This is my child's phone.
Nice.
It's okay.
This is my child. Look at that.
Gotta make it.
Was that? Give future direction?
Yeah, it also has to be a different idea or a different outcome for that.
He reacted.
See, that's where it comes into like.
We were thinking he's not even gonna get it.
Mission accomplished. Okay,
Be a
I got
better
it.
way we could
Wow,
have
we
done
thought
it.
about it. Figure whatever,
Faster.
throw it in there.
Yeah.
Protect your client.
He's got a mustache.
Yeah, right? Hey, you mad? He's got ponytail, braid, and a mustache.
I think the mustache, that's the best part. The furry one.
I thought.
Yes, yes it is. A little out of control there, isn't it?
Y'all ever play Sonic
Yeah.
the Hedgehog?
They opened up the bin, said, oh,
Here we go. Figure it out.
Okay.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's it.
Nice.
Oh, I know you're the fat guy in the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, and guess
Steve, you lost?
It's hard to work when you're.
Oh, so like we got into last Tuesday, I got to follow up.
Yeah.
It could be one of those,
Mhm.
it could be like one of those things you fast forward. You don't know what's gonna happen.
We didn't. We did a plan, we executed a plan, we did the plan. College basics, follows all the instruction, and just wants to go against that.
Once you graduate college, you're done, you want to, like, you want to be a
Did you
mechanic.
mean to make that look like awkward accent?
I don't want to do it. I don't want here. I'm going to. I still might. I know the guy.
Yeah, if you would,
Oh, it's peaking up a little bit.
slow me down, take the project, conversation will be that way. Yeah, Frank, you slow down a little bit, your conversation. You gotta find a way to talk to
Ghost pictures. Oh, you can build the light, you just put that down. Just make it, just say, you're not seeing the rest of it. All right, we have 6 pumpkins.
All right.
And we have, thank you, Andrew, for contributing creative juices on 2 of the 6. Our goal wasn't to craft a pumpkin. Well, that was the project, right? But this is a project management class. It was about the process. And I want to learn a little bit about the process. We have 6 teams that have produced 6 pumpkins, one with 1 hour's notice, no design or preparation thought into it, no hours of searching the internet for the coolest pumpkins out there, and there are some cool pumpkins out there. There are also some cool pumpkins in here. So you have a sheet of paper, and on your sheet of paper, you have the original assignment on one side, and on the back side, you have the project team evaluation. So there are 16 items that you could get points for. Each point you can get 1 to 10. 1 means your assessment is the person presenting did a crappy job, or inadequate, or didn't do it at all. And if you think they knocked it out of the park on a particular category, their explanation of it, their description of it, then score them high. And you're going to go down each of these boxes. Most of the people will present with this in front of them, so they'll talk about how they did each of these points. This is called a rubric in teaching terms. This is the scoreboard, the scorecard that we are looking at for this project. And so I'll need a representative from each team to walk us through, and when that team is walking us through, you are scoring them on each of these things, 1 to 10. Okay, so you guys are doing the scoring, not me. All right, so we're going to do that about 5 minutes or less per pumpkin. That'll get us in and out in 30 minutes on the pumpkins. We'll be able to talk about another topic before we go. And I've got a cart there. So if you'd like to put your pumpkin on the cart while you are talking about what you did in your project, and then put it back in a safe spot if you can move it. Now, if you can't move it, leave it where it is, that's fine. We later are not going to leave it here after 9 o'clock. I'm going to turn these in based on your assessments of who did what and how cool the various ones are, as well as their project presentation. So if you were the team that just came together, you're going to have to kind of wing it on who's doing the presentation for your team, but you're walking us through these topics. And Andrew, you're on your own on your team, right? You've got your pumpkin, and you've got your team members are excused. So we will accept that. I've forgotten who is team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So Andrew is team 4. You guys all remember your team numbers? Okay, awesome. All right, so let's go in order. Team 1 first. You don't have to come up front, but I'd like everybody to be able to make sure they can see what you have created. If you need to do lighting effects or something like that, you're welcome to do that, and talk us through the 16 points that you that the project assignment was. Team 1. Okay, does anybody else think they're team 1?
They are team
Then it's you. You're team 1.
Okay, we need just 1 second.
Okay.
May I ask why you brought the red card? Pull the pumpkin over? No. Oh, you said no.
Yeah, everybody that gets to see the best effect of your pumpkin as part of your presentation if you want to. Otherwise, get up and walk around. Whoa, this thing's snorting fire. Look at that. Hey, hey, hey. Okay.
All right, magic effects.
Ryan?
Oh, wow.
Where should I start with this?
You've got the
First
floor.
one, identify the
Okay.
project.
Alright, so our plan was pretty basic. She drew up the rough sketch of it and then we revised the sketch, drew it on the pumpkin, she carved it and she painted it and had a nice little plate that we have it that is definitely kind of bottom. The whole plan was just to go with basic house design, which, you know, kind of how it is, and it was about a 2-hour process all in all. Some of the dangers was the possible loss of fingers, and that's all I got to do.
Okay, that's team one. Thank you. Team two.
Leave it here for cuts. Alrighty. So, we came up with our idea of doing a zombie sort of theme, kind of stuck with Halloween. So, Frankenstein's up the alley, and we went with the idea of it eating pumpkins, intimidating, establishing dominance here. No one wants to mess with this pumpkin. So I did the design work, and I outsourced some of it to some more crafty friends that helped me out, and I sort of overseen the project, so I was supervising it, so I was making changes to it, and then saying like what's good and what isn't good, and I did a little bit of the painting myself. I did the green because it was easiest, but let's see what else here. Here's where I start getting nervous because everyone's looking at me. So with the outsourcing, we also outsourced the pumpkin pies. We didn't make this in our, at home, and we had a little bit of issues with outsourcing with one version of our pumpkin pie, which is it's just a chocolate pumpkin face. So we went with another one, which is I think edible paper, and there's a Dixie Tech logo on it.
Nice, nice.
It's kind of like a zombie theme. You guys can have a piece after, or have a piece now before you review. So we assigned roles based on what we were good at. I think. Okay, so you said that you're pretty good with a knife. I think so we assigned carving and then design work, painting. I've done a little bit of painting myself, and you're picking up the pumpkin. You are good at other things as well. Obviously, so.
He gave me a list. There's 2 things on it. That
Yeah,
was it.
no, I did not mean to come off like that. So, and what else? In the future, I think we would maybe do a little bit more carve work. I'm usually late to class too, so I think we did good with me showing up at, past 6 as usual. I'm usually late, so I think if we had a little bit more time, we could do something, like that looks pretty cool. Maybe add some more designs on there, but I was late, so but with our time constraints, I think it turned out excellent. And I probably missed like 12 things, but everyone's looking at me, so my brain's like, I think that's it. I think something unique, we had dirt on our pumpkin and we added brains on it, kind of like brain splatter if you can see on the side. We decided to paint the dirt instead of clean the pumpkin off, so it was a little bit of on the fly decision making. And Alrighty, unless someone else wants to add something in, I think we're set. Alright.
Okay, team two, good job. Team three.
Sorry.
Okay, so it may not look like we put much thought into this, but there is some thought that went into it.
Yeah.
So the project is to carve a pumpkin. We wanted to keep it simple, and so we chose student loans because it's something that hangs over, your head and can weigh you down. And sometimes you go through school and you don't even do anything with what you go to school for, so now you're stuck with a bunch of debt that you accrued and you're not even using your degree. And so the scope of the project is to win. Will we do that? I hope so. And so, like I said, the task was to make something simple, to be quick, to be easy, because it's the simple things that can really get you if you ignore it. That's when larger things follow. However, larger things did follow our simplicity because we were thinking so simple that we didn't quite recognize all of our risks. One of the risks was we didn't talk about what power tools were coming. Eric said, "I've got power tools," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's bring power tools."
We were all rooting for that. About power tools. We were like, yeah.
I want the pumpkin, bring the grinder to it, turn orange for a second, and so it got pretty messy, and it was good until it wasn't. And so, but
Okay.
So Eric, he brought the power tools. Like I said, they were working until they didn't. And then Denver, he brought our
candles.
our little tea light candles.
Which are way cool.
And they are. They're pumpkin based. And so one of the risks, or a few of the risks, I guess, that we didn't anticipate was the fact that the tools weren't going to work as we planned. And so, we had planned to keep, in this skull area, we were gonna kind of make it look like General Grievous, But as we were taking the power tool through there, I cut out one of his eyeballs, and so then I just cut a big hole out. And then some of the lettering, knocked out the N and then part of a D, so you can't really tell it's a D, but you'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You know what it says. So, we didn't use any external parties. We had talked about using my wife to do the lettering. She's pretty artistic. However, she worked the entire weekend, so that wasn't an option. The timeline, we definitely met the timeline. It was simple enough to do that. We had planned that last time. We knew what we were going to do. We knew how we were going to come in and do it. But then we had to shift. And Team 2 actually lent us some pumpkin tools to be able to actually finish our project. Otherwise, we would have had just some, crazy mumbo jumbo on there from some power tools. But that would have been cool too, And so, the outcome, we decided to keep the letters, all these strings hanging in there because, like I said before, student loans, they just kind of hang over you, especially if you're not using your degree. They weigh you down, and sometimes they can cloud your judgment because you've got all this debt, and you're wondering how you're going to pay it off because, well, you went into something, and then that market, completely fell off the face of the map. And then we completed our project on time, and then in the future, we're definitely going to put in a lot more. We're going to weigh our risks to our simplicity, and that's what got us is we didn't really discuss the risks that we were going to have, and that's one thing that we need to do in the future is to discuss the risks. They lent us a $6 kit, but in some cases and in projects that could have, translated into $600,000 or $6 million to borrow from someone else. We left our pumpkin in the classroom, and it was missing when we came back in here. And so, luckily, there was an extra pumpkin, 2 spare pumpkins, and so, and thank you, by the way. So that was that was donated, and so that didn't cost us anything extra unless it did.
Cause then you go later.
So,
There's a greatest.
that's it. Yeah, I mean, I think as far as what we were planning on, like, the money there, you're sinking your money into it, and are you doing something that's worth it? Are you doing what you want to do, but is what you're trying to achieve, is it going to be reasonable for the rest of your life? For me, I'm not musically inclined, so it would not make sense for me to go get a music degree. I'd waste my money on it. I don't really care to play an instrument that much, and so it wouldn't make sense. So you have to weigh that risk. Are you doing something that you truly want to do, and is what you truly want to do going to benefit you for the rest of your life? And so, yeah, that's it.
Team 4.
That's me.
Alright.
All right.
Thanks.
Team 4, our project manager here is not here today, and our presentation specialist is also not here today. So define the project, or identify the project, and that is to carve a pumpkin, right? As far as the scope goes, we wanted to do something that was similar to the class that we're in, right? For those of you that have been in the other modules, this is about leadership, team building, and project management. So we went with raising of the flag at Iwo Jima. You can't really see it now, but after it was carved, it was amazing. I do have a picture, and when we do the debrief next Tuesday, you'll see that in our PowerPoint presentation. As far as the tasks go, we spent last class designing and delegating responsibilities. We were able to use Photoshop and impose, that photo onto a pumpkin, and that was the initial design. The project management plan, project manager's not here, so I have nothing to say about that. What was required to start, I think initially what was required to start was just a design concept. What we needed to have in order to start carving the pumpkin, and we had that when we left last week. As far as the players are involved, Jake is our presentation specialist, Chelsea is our project manager, and I forget what he called me. I'm procurement specialist, right, the team leader. And also my wife, we outsourced our carving to my wife. And she was the one that carried the main responsibility in this. And she carried, although there was some risk to us as a team, she carried all the risk. This was not an easy carve for her, based on the template that we gave her. One of the initial designs that we had, I showed her, she's like, I don't know if I can pull this off. So we got together and we talked about it, and we decided to go to a simpler, more of a silhouette design. And she said, yeah, I could probably pull that off. And about this far into the pumpkin, she says, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. This is kind of extensive beyond my ability. So that was a risk for us because that was the only design that we had, and had she messed it up, we'd have had to go and get another pumpkin and come up with another design on the spot. As far as any other risks, it was me, my wife, and my 5-year-old. And when we're carving pumpkins, 5-year-old gets rambunctious, gets rowdy. So she carved this, and we carved a spooky ghost. And that was fun. He enjoyed it until his arm got tired, and then I carved a spooky ghost, which was fun. And both of those could have had an effect on this carve. Had it been too rambunctious and on the floor it goes. As far as the timeline goes, we had our design made before the end of class. The carving was going to happen on Sunday, and it was done. And then we will have our presentation. Jake is working on a presentation now that'll be ready to present on Tuesday of next week. You know, each part of the project, I outsourced to keep put the project together, and our project manager managed. And we shot the design changes past her, and she gave the thumbs up. And we showed her the final outcome, and she was excited about it, as was Jake. And you know, overall, I think it came out pretty good. I wish it wasn't as wilted, and I wish I had some bright lights. We could turn the lights off, and you guys can see it for what it is. I do have pictures if you want to see. So, but they'll be in the presentation. That's what we got.
If you haven't gotten close to that and looked at it close, do so. It's a piece of art. It's really an amazing piece. I'm pretty sure you broke child labor laws,
Yeah.
but that's
Well, you know, I think that my son did that.
oh, okay.
Because he carved the top and said, all right, Dad, you scrape out the muck. All right, cool. And then he says, okay, I want to carve the ghost. All right. And he got 2 saws into it, and he said, Dad, I'm tired.
Yeah.
So
He's
that
a
one-
natural project manager.
Absolutely. You know, at that point, yeah. So
All right, that's quite a piece. If you haven't seen it close, look at it from here. I know what it is, so I see what it is, but you've got to get close to it. It's one of those things that kind of chills you for a second. It takes you back to a special event in American history and leadership, and it means more. And a couple of you have added extra meaning to your pumpkin. You know, the no student loan debt, the no debt. I mean, they're going to forgive it anyway, right? But that's not a given.
Well, we're gonna end up paying that back for everyone else.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we totally
That's
are.
another class.
Yeah. that is another class. All right, that's number team 4. Team 5.
Right here.
Okay.
Can we get the lights turned down?
Yeah. Hey. If possible.
you guys got a light, huh?
Yeah.
Got a light.
Let's be a little prepared, right?
I might have to go back here and turn the lights out.
Well,
Stroll it or just regular?
No. You decide. Okay, so we identify the project. So the project was just the pumpkin, carve a pumpkin, and then also to give a presentation. So this is our pumpkin. Ta-da! So scope of the project, the pumpkin, right? So delineating all the tasks. So our tasks were effectively, getting the design ready, carving the pumpkin, and having someone be the project manager that gives the big speech at the end. Sadly, I am not that guy. I'm standing in for him. So our project management plan, same as group 4. I don't have it. But ruh-roh indeed. So required to start was effectively the pumpkin, as well as our designs and our tools. We needed something to carve out all of the leaves. And our designs, actually, we have right here. You can't really see them because it's dark in here right now. But Mitch actually printed off a bunch of pieces of paper and then traced all of the leaves onto the pumpkin himself, which allowed us to carve it all out. And then identifying the players. So the players were effectively me and Mitch for the most part, just getting the pumpkin all together. Mitch took custody of the pumpkin over the week, so kept it in shape. This is my child support right now, giving the presentation. And yeah, that was our responsibilities effectively. Were Mitch taking control of the pumpkin, our third member being the project manager, and then me standing in as the project manager and also helping carve the pumpkin. And then we actually all decided on the design beforehand already. Identify any, so the risks were, the big one is when you're doing a pumpkin like this, if you pierce through it, then you get one really shiny bright spot, and it can look kind of funky. Or so you have to scoop out the inside until you get it thin enough that the light actually shines through. And I've done one before where we were scooping out the inside and then just completely tore a hole in the pumpkin, and that doesn't look too hot either. So those are our main risks. Other than that, I mean, the usual with pumpkin carving, the pumpkin's rotten or something's in the pumpkin, and that can always suck. External parties that can influence the outcome. I mean, the outcome is winning, so the external parties are the rest of y'all. So, who I identified, found y'all lacking. Other than that, so our timeline was effectively we got the project on Tuesday, took care of the design work already right then and there. We got the idea for the design, and then over the weekend Mitch took it home, got the design all ready, stenciled it all in, and then did actually start carving on it as well. And then the day of, we had planned to just kind of take care of it all. And we did. And then the project schedule, so I mean that was our schedule, was getting it done all on the day of, which might not be the best idea, but I think it worked out pretty well. And then reviewing the outcome. So I think one thing, I guess part of the outcome was that the design initially had all of the space outside of the leaves scraped off as well, but just looking down the barrel of our timeline, we had decided to just stick with just the leaves being carved out, and kind of pull that off. And it turned out really well still. Other than that was our revising tasks. And for the future, I think probably just spending a little bit of time right before class to work on it, just get some of it done beforehand so that way we have a jump start on the project, so we don't have the project management curve that's like all of a sudden we have 10% time and we got to do 80% of the work.
Right at the end.
Yeah, right at the end there. So, yeah, I think that was our project.
Looking down the barrel of the timeline, that's a good phrase. I think we all know what that means. Get the lights back on for team 6, which is operating at
You can turn them off all the way and shut everything down.
Oh, and then we can go home.
They sell it better in
Call it
day. You don't take a nap.
we don't want to miss that. Okay, team 6 had no planning session.
I love it.
They're operating at a handicap of not knowing the assignment or having a chance to research it on the internet or anything like that. And so they pulled up a project. So, Callie, do you have you're the presenter?
I guess.
Okay.
I don't even know what to say for any of these. Honestly, I wasn't here last Tuesday. Completely forgot about the pumpkin project. So we didn't have a plan at all. We just kind of threw this together. But this is Steve.
Okay.
See the ponytail, right?
Real Steve took us over to the shop over there. Didn't really have a plan, but found some gears and started to trace them. Started to trace them and kind of put them in there, and then they kind of looked stupid. And so I held up this mask as a joke, and then just kind of went with it. So we put the mask on, and then we added the mustache, and then decided to add the braid.
I'm braided, by the way.
Yeah, 4 strands.
Unfortunately, braid.
I can do 4 strands. 3 strands paired.
What's yours, Steve?
We didn't really have a
3 strands?
plan for any assigned jobs. Risk was kind of on the spot.
Yeah, we had very little time to get a lot done, and we were straight up with one over.
I don't know. We just kind of started going with it. I was like, how do we do this? And they're like, oh, well, we use this tool. So do it, and then set it up, and yeah. Just kind of worked. Something we do different? I don't know.
Time flies sometimes.
So
kinda hard to throw a schedule and to figure out everything. And he was our project manager because he's standing in his hands in pockets most of the time anyway.
He called me out.
So,
You're the manager.
so we just said, hey, you're the guy.
Yeah.
But it was just kinda went with it. We knew we had, we knew what the scope was, we knew what the project was, and we just, if somebody threw up something, we went with it.
Knew the deadline.
Yeah.
And
She
so-
did amazing. You started saying, hey, here's this, let's do this. And, you know, obviously she's got way more artistic abilities than all of us put together. So, she's like, I want this like this, I want this like this. And so I was like, okay, let's get this tool, this tool. And grab some bits and some drills and start going down. And it worked out good.
So I think one of the, by the way, good job. Not knowing what a plan or a presentation was, you'll have, a week from today, we're gonna, submit your project report. So on what kind of the thought process was. With risk, probably the most dangerous thing in the room is a dry ice.
Yeah.
Problem. You know, I don't know, they don't usually sell it to me when they see me come in.
I can get it for you over at David's.
Can you, okay.
But it's cash only.
Put me up. So, I hope you were scoring the presentations from your point of view, each of the 6 teams. On Tuesday, bring this sheet, next Tuesday, we have class Thursday, but next Tuesday, a week from today, bring this sheet, because we want to select a winner from that, based on your opinions. And there's the judgment of what you determine to be the winner, is gonna be based to some degree on the points, allowing Team 6, the fact they didn't have the luxury of design mode prior to class. They had to wing it. And I think one of the things is that you can drive a good project with emergency time and still make it a sound project and not have some of the safety hazards, the risks and things that if you ignore project management protocols, you could run into. The ways that projects could go bad, you talked about, you know, if the artwork slipped in one, and that's a work of art, by the way. That's quite
Thanks, I don't consider myself an artist, but.
It's very cool. When the lights went out on that, I thought it was cool to start with, but when the lights went out, it was like, that really got my attention. That was cool. And some of the rest of them popped too, by the way, if you didn't notice. When the lights went down, that we got a little extra effect out of that. But I would say that there's something wonderfully unique about each one of them in your approach. Some were presenting art for the sake of art. Art for the sake of what it meant in history. A working, functioning scene, like, you know, like this Christmas scene under your Christmas tree, all there with candy, and I don't know what else is there. But then the idea of lighting, and then the special effects of fog, the special effects of vomit, or whatever that is you pulled up there, the graphic design, and then here we have a whole bunch of stuff added to the pumpkin, you know, attachments, accessorizing the pumpkin with mask and hardware, and over here a message being told, a message being taught. And I think that one of the things, we have an opportunity, you know, we do this at the college for fun. Each department has an opportunity of producing a pumpkin that's representative of what their program is doing, and it's just for fun. It doesn't even go to charity. I think it's just for fun. Flat out, there's no money involved in it. But I think that when we're talking about strategic management, one of the things that we've talked about is that if we are not inclusive as a team, we are sacrificing. If you are running a football team and you hire all 6'10", 350 pounders, you will lose. Even though you'll dominate the line, you won't the backfield. You don't have the right players for a diverse team. You know, there's NFL players that are this tall. There are NBA players that are this tall that can dunk. as well. I don't know how that works, but anyway, there are. And so a team makeup, we benefit from that diversity. And we've talked about that for a while in talent development, in leadership, in project management, the team constituency, who is on your team. It would really be good if you had someone on your team that was an artist for this project, right? That was an advantage. It would be really good if you had somebody that had creative insight. It would be really good if you had somebody that had done it before. It would be really good if you had somebody that was good at just not touching, keeping the hands in the pocket and watching the process and keeping that going. It would be really good if you had somebody that had some hardware skills, somebody that knew something about a pumpkin. You know, what is the story with the pumpkin itself? And does paint stick to pumpkin skin? You know, we learned a little experimentation that it does, but not always. And there's issues with it. So the diversity that we pull together on our team, if we had a choice, our team would be better if we were more diverse. We even had a team that needed a philosopher. And so what's the message here? We had two teams that needed a philosopher. What's the message here? And was able to make a statement with what they did. So as such, I think that we should submit 6 pumpkins to the college and say, in strategic management, it's inclusion and diversity. It's about differences of approach that give us something that's magically creative, better than if we just picked one. Do you agree with that? It's kind of one of the things we will talk about a little bit more in project management, is that team selection. I tend to pick people on a team that I like. That tends to be a mistake. Not that I should have people that I hate. I don't have a list of those. But I shouldn't just pick the people that I want to pal around with. If I want the team to really win, I need to look at the functions of what we want to do. And that's who needs to be making up my team. I need to have people that don't agree with me. I need to have people that think differently from a different perspective and point of view that can help my team balance my biased thinking. And so you notice the input that you have from those of you that collected ideas from each other on your teams. You built on those ideas. You threw an idea, every one of you in your report modified your design. Every one. How'd that happen? Well, because you agreed on the design, but when you got into it, your creative juices allowed you to do streamline. Let's not fill in all the back, because we can, and in my opinion, that didn't compromise the end result at all. It may be something that you had in mind, but we didn't. And it didn't compromise the end product. And so, you were carving symbols or design, and it didn't work the way you wanted to do. So you let the letters kind of hang, instead of cleaning out all the pumpkin strings on it, and put a story together to why that helped prove your point of the lingering effects of student loans. And so spinning it that way makes it like, okay, that was cool that you took something that was a problem and turned it into something that had a story behind it. Well, that's accepted, right? Marketing people do that all the time. This new version is lighter. No, it's cheaper. It's really, you cut cost out of it and charge me more for it. So what I'd like to do is I would like you to decide how, if we can put 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom for transport purposes, so that I can get that to student services before the night is out, on what order you want them in, and then they'll put them all on a row, and I will put some signs on it that say our class is about diversity and inclusion, and what you see here is pumpkin people, and kind of like they're from all walks of life. I would say from the zombie world to the ghost world, to the mechanized world, and to a memorial or an honor type of a statement. So I'll put some labels with it like that. They'll do that on Thursday morning. We're all working somewhere else, so we won't be here when they do that. But I'll see that our class has a presence there, and then Thursday night I'll report what happened when I see it the day after tomorrow. Questions or comments on that? So if you wanna take a minute, we're gonna watch a video on Agile, because we've been talking about, project management and Agile, and we still haven't defined Agile. We've done some exercises with project management. So I would say this one needs to have some footing to it, right? And this one needs to have some footing to it. So I would think those should go in places where there's footing. Those with less footprint could go to the sides or something. If you would stage those and load that up on a cart, I would appreciate that while I see if I can get the camera back up.
Should I leave this light in here, do you think?
I'm sorry?
Should I leave the light in it?
Those are battery lights?
Battery light.
Yeah, yeah. If you, and I'll see that you get them back.
Okay.
Yep.
We want to cover this up, or do they care anything about it?
Are you still here, Thursday? I have a handout here that we're gonna touch on, so take one of these while you're up and about.
Stamp's cool. What's that?
Like all military looking stamp.
Oh yeah, that's the army, font.
Nice.
She did that by hand.
Pumpkin.
No way.
Yeah. It's like, she had a stencil, but yeah.
Okay.
When it starts up,
Oh,
the gears actually turn.
Still impressive.
It's like steampunk.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Killer though.
I didn't really think about paying for
It turned out. And then we gotta get our third guy. All right, if you didn't get one of those handouts, you're gonna need it. You'll see this slide on the first page. And there are 19 project management terms that we are going to start class with on Thursday. And I'm going to assign one to each of you. And later in this pack of slides, there's a slide at least on your topic. And there's more to talk about your topic. I want you to introduce your project management term in class. You don't have to stand up and make a presentation. We'll just talk about it. When it's your turn, you can tell us what your term is about. We'll discuss it a little bit and have some conversation. Right now, I want to assign them. I'm going to take number 1 and number 2, and we'll just kind of go around the room. You've got number 3, you've got number 4, you've got number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, number 13, number 14, number 15, and I will take 16, 17, 18, and 19. If someone that's not here today shows up, I'll give them one of those and let them talk about it. Yes, sir.
Josie had to go run some stuff outside.
Oh, yeah. Take her, 15?
16. I'm 15.
You're 15, so Josie's got 16. All right. Yeah. Okay, I'll take 17, 18, 19. Okay. So later in the slide deck, there is at the top of the slides, like that's the first one, that's project, that's a term. Project management, that's a term. There's basically one slide for every one, and I want you to review that. If you want to Google it a little bit on your phone and add some things from project management, Wikipedia has definitions of all these also, and they're pretty much standard in the project management industry. So feel free to add a little thing that's not a 30-minute presentation or anything. It's basically one slide. You describe what that topic is from your point of view in project management, and I'll add some stuff to it. And that's how we'll start class on Thursday, okay? So you keep track of your numbers. I'm not keeping track of who is assigned to what. And then we're going to watch a video and we're going to be done for the day. We're looking at Agile here. And we're looking at Agile from a perspective of what it might do for your business, business transformation, what it takes to succeed is the title of this interview that we're going to take a look at.
Scrum is a team-based project management style. It's arguably the fastest and leanest or simplest way to manage teams in a company of any size and any number of teams. It's a scaled method for team management. Agile is the idea of splitting really long projects into many really small projects and giving them to the real customer really fast and then changing what the next project will be. So whereas a lot of us think of project management as a sequence of phases towards a ultimate deliverable, Agile is a different mindset where you have a sequence of small deliverables that refine each other, add up to become an even larger impact that has a faster feedback loop. Putting those together, you have many teams working together to deliver a series of tiny, highly effective, focused projects immediately.
Wow. So, and this is something that is fairly broadly being adopted now by businesses in all sectors around the world. Do you have any metrics on how rapidly it's being adopted by which different sectors with what level of success at this point?
When we look in automotive, which is where I play now, we see BMW saying they have a 4 to 5 year plan to get Agile. We see Bosch starting 4 years ago saying we must get Agile, and they have some Agile and they want to increase it. And then you see Agile native companies like Tesla, which create the pressure as they're now far and away the most valuable automotive company in the planet. In fact, if you add up most of the other players, they're still thought to be less valuable than Tesla. So you see in most industries, it's similar to automotive, where you have a company that's full Agile, they're Agile natives, and they're far and away more successful than all the others. Then all the others are at various stages of their transformation. They have some business units working effectively in the method. They have some business units that are still trying to figure out what this is, or they're still saying it doesn't apply to us.
So with those ranges of adoption, and really you're talking about a sprint methodology that's applied with a certain kind of team-based structure, team-based project teams. How are you seeing when that starts to influence a specific case? Maybe you could talk through an example of what that process looks like. Can you give us one or two examples?
Yeah, well, every aspect of managing the company is going to be modified from this mindset if we want it to happen. Team-based means we have cross-functional teams. So the idea of an engineering group separate from a software group, separate from a design group, separate from a test group, that concept of the business structure does change because now we have cross-functional teams where all those people are together on a mixed team. So that changes. The funding model changes because we're no longer making an annual budgeting plan. I mean, there is an annual budgeting trend to do the finances, but it's not locked in on what it's going to build. It's instead, we're going to make 52 releases, one a week this year, of hardware and software, and we'll figure out what they are in real time. So we will budget the company to make 52 releases of hardware and software. Very different budgeting. So budgeting changes. Legal support evolves because we don't have a IP protection phase anymore. Every week we have updates of what is potentially protectable, patentable, best for open source, etc. Every aspect of the company has a tweak, a modification, and really it's a mindset. How we approach the company is going to evolve. Additional management loops many layers of hierarchy were fast enough. Now, it doesn't keep up with week-long releases. Having the management coalition on the topic meet every other week has no effect on projects that ship in less than a week. So all management decisions need to be prioritized differently in a less than hour feedback loop, which is a highly different way to run a company. So that changes too.
So, you've given an example of how Tesla and 3M collaborated. And just because the magnitude of that is so substantial and the rate of change seems so dramatic in such a short period of time, could you talk us in a summarized way through how that happened? Mindful that many business people are accustomed to multi-year changes, and to our audience, I'll just say this may come across as a bit surprising, but stay with it. And can you give us that example in a little depth?
Yeah, so Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink and the Boring Company and OpenAI, which are all becoming the most effective and most followed and financially successful companies in all of their respective sectors. He calls the 3M CEO. The CEO of 3M at that time was Inga Thulin. And Elon says, "You are fantastic at making privacy films for screens. You're fantastic at making solar cells. What I'd like you to do is put privacy filters on your solar cells. So when looked at from an extreme angle from the ground, if it's on a roof, it looks like black or terracotta tile or beautiful reflective glass. But from the sun's perspective, looking almost straight down at the solar panel, it sees straight through the privacy filter and sees the solar film to create the photovoltaic effect, make electricity. And you also make highly UV stable adhesives to hold these two layers together for many, 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 many years of harsh element, wide temperature range use. I'd like you to make a solar roof for us." And Inga Thulin says, "Elon, I'm so impressed you know our product stack and our technology strengths so well that you can propose a new product that is right in our wheelhouse that we hadn't even thought of. That's amazing. I'd love to do it. Great, we'll put the product in our queue immediately. It'll go through our new product introduction phase after our new product development phase, and you will have your prototype in right about 7 years." Elon says, "Great, we'll start installing it on homes in 7 weeks," and he hangs up the phone. Now Inga Thulin has a choice. Inga can queue up the new product development and the new product introduction phases the way they normally do and lose the business, not get any of this business, not get the halo effect of working with the Musk companies. It all goes away. Or Inga can work in a way that is foreign to 3M, outside the new product innovation and new product development process that are defined. And Inga decides to run an Agile project. And like all Agile initiatives, they're far more effective if we ask who wants to join, the energetic people. So he says, "Who would like to join?" And he gets hundreds of responses. And he says, "Who can put all your other work on someone else? You can shift it to another area of the company, or you can outsource it, or you can stop it. So this is the only thing you do." And he gets a very small number of people that says, "Yes, we can." Then those people sit in one room together full time, and they all work in pairs. No one works alone. They have one big projector screen, and a lot of the time they're doing laptop work, procurement, chemical mix ideas, drawings, talking to vendors. Only one person is allowed to type at once. Everyone sees it on the screen. They all point and talk. It's real-time conversation. They're a team. They all work on one thing together at once. When they need to make a prototype, they all go to the factory together, and they make it on the line together, or they watch it made together, and they fly back with the prototype. They finish early. It set records all across 3M. This is Agile. It's the team-based management of Scrum, which just makes it really simple and lean to work with many teams at once. And it's the Agile idea of, instead of just phases, you make a small project, although a solar roof isn't that small, on an incredibly short cycle.
So you were able to to see this significant result in a matter of weeks that in normal methodology would have taken years in some respects. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was 7 years to 5 weeks. Yeah.
And how large was this team that did the kind of core work for developing this?
It was 4 people. They added a 5th person in the last 2 weeks to help file patents in open source as fast as possible.
And as a result, 3M, did they continue to use this Agile methodology, or was this just a one-off experiment?
As a result, they did the financial calculations, what would happen if more of their projects ran that way. And they flew me in to do team launches where we trained people and then launched these Scrum teams, 50 people at a time in a group. And we did waves for a year and a half, 2 years. It ended up being thousands of people. And the stock price jumped to its all-time high.
And how would you say the acceptance of this new mindset or new culture, was it difficult for that to be embraced at 3M, or did it happen easily? What was that like from your perspective or what you saw?
Phil, this is the billion-dollar question. I really think this is, maybe $1 billion is selling it too short. A lot of people want to make an impact in a company, and the real crux of this seems to be how beaten down have they been until they've disengaged, as horrible as that is. And I really think this is the crux of it. And I think the core of this good work is finding ways to lovingly nurture each other so that we re-engage. And then this Agile stuff makes great sense. It plugs in very naturally, very easily. Kids do this. This is how children play before they've been told by their teacher, I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't want to listen to you right now. I want you to sit down and focus on this and only this alone. Once that's become a pattern, this Agile stuff becomes foreign, and we have to relearn this natural collaboration method that is super intuitive to all living things, or at least humans. Here's what happens. Someone says, I have a great idea, and manager is busy. And manager says, not right now, or submit it to the system, or look, you have a 15-minute break. You can do it on your break instead of going to the bathroom and having a coffee if you want. And that person says, oh, I see, my idea is not valued. I'm valued for my hands and not my mind. They have a choice. They can either pump up and fight the system, or they can relax. And then the next time they see an improvement opportunity, they're now conditioned to say, well, ask my boss. You know, they've been told, don't engage me. Well, if that's been happening for 2, 3, 4, 30 years, it's going to be super hard to invite that person onto a Scrum team. They've built up self-defense mechanisms to avoid shame, which are super healthy given the situation they've been in. Now, if you get someone fresh, or someone who's been in these Agile companies already, they know that they are a powerful force on the planet, and they create the situation around them. And they'll leave if their managers tell them, I don't want your engagement. So then it's supernatural. So here's what actually seems to happen. We go into a massive company like 3M, and we say, who would like to try this Scrum thing? After giving a 45-minute keynote on what the Scrum thing is. And you get a set of hands. And those are people who are either at midlife crisis, so they're reevaluating themselves, or they're new, or they're about to retire. So in all cases, they say, change is cool. And they opt in. And you have a huge mass of other people who say, no, not right now. Not right now. Not unless the system really changes and I'm told that my whole humanity is valued at work. And so that's the culture side of change. And it's super real. And that's why it's way easier to do this in a startup. Even with the same employees, the same ones who've been not invited to bring their whole selves to work for 20, 30 years. It's regardless of age. But it's a new company, so they know it's new. The ground rules are different. They got to figure out what they are. And you say, let's try Agile. It's super easy. With all new hires, the same people. Tesla famously did this. They took the Numi plant, which had extremely low quality under GM, and Toyota had increased the quality, but the rate of innovation was tragically low. Tesla took it, made world-class innovation with even higher quality. The quality had to ramp, but now it's even higher. It's the same people. It's the same people working there. I was meeting with the head of Lean, who's been there 20 years through GM, Toyota, and Tesla. and it is now the highest profit company, the highest stock value company on the planet in automotive, and trending to be maybe the top value company of any type, maybe. And he's been there. It's the same person. It's the same people working there. It's the system that changed, and the culture change point was done effectively.
So change is a key element here. And we may be in a world where it's not only that change is cool, but certainly with COVID and with a lot of the ways processes are changing, change is maybe even the rule. In this environment where people are doing more distance-based work, how does Agile fit into that?
It seems to be more natural, Phil. When you and I work together now doing this, the idea that we can zoom in and task on a window, because that means a lot of what we're doing is screen-based. Zoom in on a window, and I have my team here, and we disengage, re-engage near seamlessly in less than a second. Hey, Joe. Yes, Phil. It seems to fit really nicely. Now, there's this thing called the Agile Manifesto written in 2001. That was before Zoom. That was before Google Meet. That was before Azure DevOps and Microsoft Stack that supports this. That's when we had 9600 baud modems and text. And it was really hard to do it not in the same room. It's pretty easy to do now with modern collaborative tools. Now, I'm involved in manufacturing. Luckily, if we're moving atoms, that means robots. If we're moving electrons, that means people. So people move electrons, that's super easy to do remote. Robots move atoms, that's super easy to monitor, observe, and cheer on remote. And I use those words very intentionally. If we are telling the robot specifically where to move, our company is gonna die, and it's dying now. The robot needs to be running a machine learning stack, and what we're doing is curating the data and making sure it has a valid data stack running to it. I mean, we're symbiotes full on in hardware. My right arm is a DUR robot. My left arm is a FUNAC robot. That's how this works. And humans move electrons, robots move molecules.
Awesome. And so we're coming close to needing to end this part of the interview. I would love to delve into the robotics elements and all the others. For businesses in other sectors beyond automotives, certainly software has adopted Agile to a great degree. What other fields are you seeing ripeness for Agile? And what would be the great first step for them to take if they are ready or just wanting to explore?
Medical, and I use that huge blanket term intentionally. It started in pharma, and now emergency room care and children room pediatrics, and now the entire stack. The financial system is racing towards this as fast as they can. That industry has experienced as much upheaval as any in terms of funding model and in terms of what resources are available and effective to use. So that's a whole business stack that is sprinting to this right now as fast as they can. FinTech jumped on board right around the Bitcoin ramp up. So FinTech is now basically Agile native. There's not much FinTech that's not Agile. And that brought most of the banking and finance with it. Legal seems late to the party, but legal is asking to defend and arbitrate between Agile businesses. So they're trying to wrap their heads around what this means. So most legal groups, when they propose contracts, they don't even apply. They're getting thrown out all the time. So you have Agile teams writing their own contracts and legal sitting at the sidelines saying, no, wait, what about us? So that seems to be a catch-up point. Media has been on short clocks with cross-functional teams since there was media, because they had tight timelines to meet. But the respect for people aspects of agility, there's this whole system that makes it sustainable, has not reached media at all. And there's a real rescue opportunity that I don't know if media is aware of yet. They might be closer to legal in that regard, because they're already fast, so they don't feel the pain that legal is starting to feel, where they're just being cut out of the loop. There's high turnover, and they don't, I think, know that Agile has a solution stack that may be useful. Manufacturing, everyone in manufacturing knows this is the thing and where it's going. Most people feel clueless, and they're saying, I just hope I retire before it disrupts my factory. and they feel it's impossible. It seems too high a mountain to climb. So we'll see where that goes. Either 90% of hardware companies are going to go under, or we're going to have a title change in the next level.
So I'm sorry, or we're gonna have a title change, can you say that again?
Or either about 90% of manufacturing and hardware operations are going to go under, or we're going to have a title change to agility in about the next 18 months.
Wow, well, you heard it here first. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time. Any final thoughts or final words of encouragement or a suggestion?
This is super fun. The Scrum thing is only 11 rules. You can practice those for 2 days and have it down. The Agile thing is the mindset, but write some poems, try to bring your whole self to work, re-engage with your passionate self, and supernatural. Kids do it all the time. Play at a preschool, and it's basically Montessori preschool at work, and it's incredibly effective, so you'll love it. Start painting, do something for fun. And the thing that I wish happened more often in the world, to save those 90% of companies I just talked about, most companies think their core systems are about the same as they were 20 or 40 years ago. But control systems and control equipment has changed 1,000x in the last 40 years. That's how much built up opportunity there is in your company. So every time you look at, for example, robotics, like the potential is so high.
So, hopefully, one of the reasons you signed up for this class is you want to be a Scrum Master. You want to know what Scrum is, how to be Agile, how to maybe be an influence in your company, and moving in that direction. So that's what we're going to learn. The 11 principles of Scrum we'll introduce on Thursday. So we'll start in that direction, and we're merging it with traditional project management itself. We may have some laptops in the room. It may be next week before we do. I want us to start looking at Microsoft Project and the parts of it that'll be useful to our world. We've got a licensing thing that the college is trying to figure out and how to get it on enough laptops for us so we can use it in this class without having to buy the software. So that's what we're working on there. And thank you for carving pumpkins. We had a Scrum with Team 6, and you didn't know it. So we'll dissect that a little bit when you make your presentation, and I'll talk about what parts of it that I saw, and from a little bit far away. This looks awesome. You guys did a great job. Every one of them has something about it that's remarkable and adds to the overall package of what strategic management is about. The strategy is that we're better to get together than we are individually, right? We're better drawn from each other's contributions, and to manage a team in an Agile. Wouldn't it be cool? Did you hear what he was talking about 3M? How would you like to build a solar-powered roof designed and developed in 5 weeks? That's crazy. That's the right word for it. That's crazy. They did it, and that's on the market. And Elon's trying to put them into tiny homes as a stock item, and he wants to have his tiny homes available for $10,000, and big enough to hold a husband, wife, and child, without the tiny home mindset where you just squoze into it and you can't live. So we'll talk about that more as well. We're out of time right now. Thanks for playing. It was fun, and these will represent us well on Thursday. I will see you all Thursday evening.
No.